What's up everyone? In the last video I told everyone to comment down below a question what they wanted answering. I have around 10 questions altogether. I'm going to try and get through them as best I can and kind of give my personal answer to most of them. Some of them are a little harder to explain in a short video, but I'll try and get my opinion across on most of them. I hope you like them. If you have any more questions, do put them down in the comments down below because I'm sure I'll make another Q&A at some point. So let's get into it. So the first question is from Will Stacey and they ask, tell us about your PRMC. So my PRMC was back in 2008, so it was 9 years ago, so it's going to be hard for me to remember. But from what I researched recently, the PRMC looks like it's changed a little bit. There is a YouTube video that the Royal Marines put out about what you do day by day, which is a pretty cool video if you haven't watched it already. And I remember mine being a little bit different. The careers office in Manchester grouped me up with a couple more people who were going down there at the same time as me. We all got the train down together, so we were a group, we were excited, we were talking about it. We got to Lympstone, the train ticket was paid for by the careers office. And from what I remember, all the normal tests were put in place: the bleep test, the push-ups, the push-ups, the sit-ups, the pull-ups, the mile-and-a-half run. You know, all them basic tests that you had to pass were in place pretty much on the first day. I'm pretty sure the mile-and-a-half was done on the first day. It was like a mile-and-a-half run out as a troop and a mile-and-a-half sprint back on your own pace as quick as you can. I remember the next day being a lot of there was a determination test on the bottom field. There were also some team games to see what your communication was like. I also remember having to have an interview there and test me on my core knowledge and stuff like that. So make sure you brush up on all that lot. You are in a room with other candidates, so make sure you're ready to bond. Make sure because chances are these are going to be the people, if you pass, are going to be in your troop. So, you know, try and make the most of it. Try and talk to them. Try and make friends, you know, and be social. The second question is from Connor Duggan. And they say, no psychometric test. Yes, we did do a psychometric test and it was really easy. I just forgot to put it in that video talking about before I joined the Royal Marines. But yeah, it was super easy. With me being in school, a lot of that stuff was already fresh in my mind, so I passed that really easy. I didn't really think it was that much to talk about. The next question is from Corey Bow. Sorry about if I get these names wrong. He says, PRMC video please. Also, did you ever get an injury? I've passed my recruit test and interview. I'm TMU on my medical, but I have shin splints. I've been told to completely rest for 3 months before I can even begin to train again. Any tips on beginning to train for BJFT and PRMC without my injury reoccurring when it eventually heals? Okay, so first of all, I did get injured. I pulled a muscle in my groin. I also did a lot of damage to my ankle. I fell off the ropes on the bottom field, did a lot of damage to my ankle. There was quite a few injuries that I got. I did go into hunter company for a little while, but that didn't faze me. I still got through it, obviously. When it comes to shin splints, in all honesty, pretty much everyone gets shin splints. I'm not gonna lie to you. The boots you get issued are not the best. They don't have much cushioning in there. And everyone gets shin splints. It's just one of them things, you know? It's just a case of, are you willing to push through that or not? And I know that sounds a little grueling, but the more you get shin splints and the more I would go back after that run and ice my legs or go in the shower as soon as possible and rub them and massage them, the more it started to go on its own. But that's not necessarily for everyone. I do remember some people actually leaving training because they had severe shin splints. But I remember speaking to a lot of people and everyone who passed said the same, that they all felt like they had shin splints. So, you know, it's one of them where it's probably a lot in the mind and it's probably a lot of how much can you push through. But there also probably is an exception. If you have real severe shin splints or compartment syndrome, then chances are you're probably going to need to sort that out before you go in. TB 2018 says, I'm pretty confident I can get myself to the point to pass PRMC. A lot of people do. My main question is, how do you get through the training? The obvious answer is to just keep going, but what happens if you get ill or start to fall behind? I know you can get back to it, but is there a limit on how many times you can be? A pal of mine often says I shouldn't bother and I should go for an army regiment where it is a little bit less intense and doesn't think mentally I can get through it. I see where he's coming from, but at the same time I do want to go for it. Any tips on how to get through those tough days when you were in training? Okay, so this looks like it's got a few little things in there. A lot of people pass the PRMC, not necessarily. A lot of people also fail, so make sure you are prepared for that. If you get ill or fall behind, yeah, you do get back trooped. I'm not sure if there is a limit, but I'm sure if you get back trooped quite a few times, people will start to it'll start to like raise red flags, and people will be like, okay, what's going on here? Your friend is saying that you should go for the army. Okay. A lot of people will tell you that you can't do something, and it's often a reflection of themselves, and it's often because they can't do it, and they will tell you can often because they can't. I had that happen to me a lot. I had a teacher tell me that I couldn't get in, that I wouldn't do it, proved them wrong. You know, I had a lot of people who told me, why don't you just go for the army? And to be honest with you, I considered it. I very much considered going in the army, but honestly, I ended up just, you know, sticking with what I wanted to do, and I did it, and I got in, and I had a time of my life. And honestly, like, you're not gonna know unless you do it. And if you join the army, if you've wanted to join the Marines but you do join the army, you're gonna regret it. So why not just try it? Why not go and try it and see how you feel? As for mental toughness in training, you just gotta take one day at a time, man. I was back troops because I got injured and stuff, and you just gotta take it one day at a time, and hope that you make friends who can also bring you up. There was a time I remember being on exercise when I was cold, I was wet. It was right near the beginning of training, and I was just in a very, very bad place. I nearly started crying. And I remember them having a wagon right next to us, warm, light on. This was at night time when I was doing a lecture, and this wagon was there. There was like a hot cup of tea in there, some food. And I remember him saying, anyone who wants to go in there can just go in, go home, stay warm, get dry. And I was so close from doing it. Like, so close. But the thing that stopped me from doing it was my friends. A lot of my friends said, you know, just don't do it. Just get through tonight, see how you feel tomorrow, you know. And sure enough, the next day comes, and you just carry on. You just carry on, put one foot in front of the other until you get to the end of that 30 miler. Tamba K says, hey, great video, thank you. Just a quick question. I just started training specifically for the Royal Marines, and it's been, let's just say, it's been a while since I trained. Anyways, I'm training now, but I have trouble with consistency working out, especially in the gym. So how do you develop that? So consistency is key if you want to get fit. Simple as that. You need to get up. You need to do things you have to do, whether you feel like it or not. And honestly, if you are struggling to motivate yourself now about going in the Marines, then training is going to be very difficult for you, and you need to rethink your situation. If you want it and you have that determination, then chances are that determination is going to push you to work out every single day. It did for me, and it does for a lot of people. So if that's your thing, then, you know, keep working hard. Consistency is key, and don't make excuses for yourself. A little bit harsh, I know, and I'm sorry, but it's the way the cookie crumbles. N1Y Yama? I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong. It is the internet. They say, great video. Did you ever get the doubt that you'll turn up and be shit even though you feel like you're training your bollocks off? I have this constant loom on my shoulder that's killing my motivation, and I need to get through it. Do you have any tips? How long would you train before applying? I'm apprentice and skint most of the time. I kickbox, which drinks my training money, so I can't afford the gym membership. Basically feel like everything is back to front and I need some guidance. Okay, so let's break this up a little bit. Do you ever feel like you'll turn up and be shit even though you've trained your bollocks off? Yes, you always get that doubt. But in all honesty, reality kicks in when you get there. If you start to fall behind in the first couple of weeks, then you know that something's not right. But that doesn't necessarily mean you won't get through it. It's just a case of pushing yourself. Because everyone's fitness goes up in training. Everyone's fitness will. If it's killing your motivation, then there's something you need to question there. There was one thing that was consistent with me before I went into training was my motivation. I always wanted it more than anything else, ever. How long did you train before applying? I actually trained for about a year and a half. I was still in school at the time, so it just made sense for me. You say you're an apprentice and you're kickboxing. Kickboxing is a great source of fitness, but you do need to make sure that you are getting them basic fitness tests finished before you even apply. So, you know, your press-ups, your pull-ups, your sit-ups, your mile and a half, they all need to be in the bag before you even go. Okay, that's the guidance I would give you. When it comes to the gym membership, if you're getting the fitness through kickboxing, that's all cool. But like I said, just make sure you get them basic fitness tests finished before you even go. S. McHugh says, hey mate, awesome videos. Thank you again. Can you do a video going through your RM career and give us an insight to what we can expect? Unit, deployment, specialization, any other experience you need to know. Cheers, mate. Okay, so this is also another very grey area because it is different for everyone, you know. For me, I finished training, I chose 4-5 Commando. With that being said, I was there for a little while. I then ended up getting pinged to do battle casualty replacement for 40 Commando, to which I went straight there. Like literally the day I found out I had to go there, I got trained there. I got trained at a Navy base for a little bit about pre-deployment, and then I went to the unit and waited while they were in Afghan, and then I ended up going back to 4-5 Commando where I did pre-deployment training there. I didn't get to deploy because I couldn't drive, which was annoying, and then I ended up doing Op Cougar for anti-piracy and stuff like that. And like I said, it's different for everyone. My specialisation ended up being a driver. That was because I pretty much put my chit into leave just before I got pinged. Not necessarily saying that's why I got pinged for driver. A lot of people don't like being a driver. For me, it was a case of I've got a year left. I'll just do something that'll pass the time, and driver was the one that I got pinged for, so I wasn't gonna moan about it. I've got a lot of friends who go snipes, who go mountain leader, who do all these different amazing specializations, and you do have a choice of doing them. Bearing in mind, as soon as you get out of training, you have your 2 years of general duties, and it honestly depends on the person. Eric Cave says, hey man, love your videos. Thank you again, I appreciate it. At the moment I run, do bodyweight workouts, MMA, and go to the gym. I think I'm doing good in terms of progression. I was just wondering, when you went to the gym, did you do higher volume or lower volume, i.e. 5x5, or did you mix it up? Genuinely love your videos, man, keep it up. Okay, so when it comes to training, I would honestly concentrate on the tests you need to do. So your press ups, your pull ups, your sit ups, and your mile and a half. When I would go to the gym, I would get straight on the treadmill and do my mile and a half. That's the first thing I'd do. That way I'm exhausted when I'm practicing everything else. When it comes to the type of training in high intensity or lower, I would honestly mix it up. Do what works for you. If you're seeing that you're getting better results in your tests when you test yourself by doing high intensity rather than low intensity, then keep doing that. Just do what works for you. For me, it was a case of mixing everything up as much as possible. A lot of workouts would involve exercises that boost your press ups. So like bench press, other chest exercise like flies, maybe a little bit of triceps in there just to give a little bit of extra boost. So yeah, mix it up if I was you. See what works for you, and keep doing that, because in the end of the day, it's all about them tests. After the test, when you've passed your PRMC and you're ready to go into training, that's when you can consider going yomping with your boots on, getting your feet to harden a little bit, and maybe putting some weight on your back. Clarissa Russell Dressage, I think I got that right, maybe, hopefully. Could you make a video about your views on women joining the Royal Marine Commandos, please? It is something that I'd like to hear about, the opinion of a former Royal Marine Commando. It's really interesting hearing your take on training, etc. Okay, so this is a very, very complicated subject right now. If I talk to a lot of Royal Marines, the chances are a lot of people in the forces tend to swing more conservative. They stick more with the old school idea that it should only be males. Me personally, I think females should be able to join. I think why not? With that being said, I understand the argument against it. A lot of people say, well, what happens if you're in a war zone and you have feelings for a female? Then you can act out irrational and act out and do something that could put others in danger to help that person. Understandable, I get that. But you have to bear in mind that relationships are on a scale of friendships and there's gay people in the Marines, and it could already happen. If you favour a friend in your troop more than somebody else, then you're going to look after them. And even though that shouldn't happen, then naturally that does happen. So I think that argument is pretty much invalid now. It's understandable that women at peak fitness are not the same level as men peak fitness, and that's not me being sexist, that is at a cellular level in the body, you know? If you look at the CrossFit Games, the highest women athletes cannot compete with the highest men athletes. They have to do different weights. With that being said, you're not a CrossFit athlete in the Marines. Even though you are in the top 5% of fitness in the world, I honestly think that the women can do just the same as what the men can do. So if you can do it, then why not? If they have to lower some of the fitness tests to get into training, by all means do it. But when you're in training, I think that you should be side by side with the guys. If they can do everything that the guys can do, it makes no sense whatsoever to not let women join. It really doesn't. But that's my opinion. You know, it's an opinion. So that's not going to change the ideas of other people. I know a lot of my friends who are in the Marines will probably disagree with me. But let's see where it goes in the future. People are becoming more open about this stuff, and it's being talked about more. And the last and final one was from Joe Haig, and he said, "Fuck that teacher, they're telling you you can't get in." I agree. I agree. And you know what? I got in and the local newspaper put me front page in my green beret on, and I know that she reads that newspaper every day. So I felt pretty satisfied with that. Thank you everyone for watching this Q&A. If you do have any more questions, do comment them down below. I will probably do another Q&A video at some point. However, I don't want to keep my YouTube channel all about Royal Marines. There is a few subjects I want to talk about, and I hope you appreciate that. I hope you stick with that. If you do like this video, please do press the like button. Please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Take it easy and keep training.